Welcome to the Blue Bracket edition of the 3-2-1 Screw Headlocks Halos Championship Series, or as I also like to call it, the R.I.P Invitational.
64.
Yeah. R.I.P 64 Invitational, you know, whatever. Here we are. Are we ready, boys?
I'm so excited for the last bracket!
Bracket number 4.
I would say
Part
so,
5
pal.
in our 6-part series, where we have taken 64 of the dearly departed, the 64 wrestlers who are body slamming and
Jamming and
pile driving
profiling.
up there in heaven. But we've taken 64 of these
Fine athletes.
these contestants, and we've combined them into one pool to where we randomly drew and created the brackets, pitting them against one another, and the three of us give our opinions on said matches and determine
for
a
those
winner.
of you who haven't been tuning in, but you should be tuning in by now,
You should have.
The
You really
first-
should have.
was Bruiser Brody. The second was the Macho Man. And the third was
Mike Von Erich.
Mike Von Erich.
Yeah. Started out with the green bracket, the red bracket, then the teal bracket.
And
Now
now
we're on
the blue.
the blue bracket.
Make
The
this so
tournament,
blue.
the tournament's shaking up to be. They got some good finalists so far.
Yeah, so what we're going to do, we're going to go through this here. We're going to determine the blue bracket champion, and then we'll have the final show in the series where we pick the 4 winners in a little mini competition
Yes.
to determine a champion for the
The champion.
first ever 3-2-1 Screw Headlocks and Halos Championship.
R.I.P Invitational.
R.I.P Invitational. So, with no further ado,
Let's get down to business.
Let's do it.
I'm excited.
You got the spectacles
let's get it on.
Who's first, Bill?
I have, yes, indeed, as you notice, I have placed my spectacles on my head. And we're going to get right into this.
I mean, shit's got real.
But first, I'm going to have me a little sip of my rum punch while you good folks go ahead
Pardon
and
me.
real quick, hit that subscribe button, give us a thumbs up.
And ring that bell.
We're still celebrating. We're still celebrating over here with a 200.
Technically, we're at 201 now.
That's right, Bill. I
So-
just checked.
Thank you to that.
You're welcome.
Cheers.
Gentlemen, once again, thank you all to our Scroobies and subscribers. Keep on trucking.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Next
You know,
milestone,
after you hit-
400,
after
guys.
You know, don't forget to share this with amongst your friends.
Friends, peers,
Post
coworkers,
it
family,
via your social media.
your people in your life.
All right.
And your people's people.
Let's get down to brass tacks here, fellas.
Let's do it. I'm ready.
Let's jump in.
Let's just do it.
Who's first? Who's up?
You know
Give me
what?
these chips.
I'd say let's go with some 1/2 of the natural disasters, and that is one earthquake,
Oh, boy.
and he's taking on George the Animal Steel.
They probably had matches happen in real life.
I'm sure they did. They were kind of from the same era.
There.
Well, we're gonna wait and see if Joey can make more noise.
Jackson.
So, any thoughts there, Kyle? Why don't you just go ahead and take control of this first match, first out of the gate here. Earthquake versus George Animal Steel.
George the Animal Steel is one of my wife's favorite wrestlers.
Yeah.
How about that?
He was definitely a part of the Intercontinental title
Now I
match.
see why she married Kyle.
Intercontinental title match between Macho Man Randy Savage and Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. But and then you got Earthquake, who was a tag team wrestler, big guy, stomped around the ring all the
Oh
time.
yeah, John Tenta. Was
This
his
is
real name.
actually kind of difficult decision of who would win between Steel and Earthquake. That's kind of, they're both kind of even there.
Mm-hmm.
And just out of the pure luck, I'm going to go with Earthquake over
Earthquake.
George Steele over here.
Muchacho.
So, my take on that is, both men, you look at size, look at the era they were in. Okay, they were around the same era. So, mainly,
They were in the era when wrestling kind of started going mainstream. Hulk Hogan and
yeah,
you know,
and maybe just before
Cyndi
Hogan.
Lauper and WrestleMania.
Yeah, Mr. T.
Mr. T's and Muhammad
So,
Ali's.
I want to go by the famous programs,
Liberace.
the famous programs that they've had. In other words, you know, the storylines and whatnot. I dug George the Animal Steele's gimmick. I thought it was awesome. He was the wild man there with his green tongue ripping apart. I mean, dude, if you can eat turnbuckle padding and shit, you got to be pretty damn tough. That's all I'm saying. But on a real note, those guys, I'm going to have to go with my fan favorite, George the Animal Steele.
Wrong. Earthquake would win. No, you know, George Animal Steel was tough, but Earthquake, but George Animal Steel, you know, he was that. He had that lovable side to him too.
Yeah, to
you
Miss
know,
Elizabeth.
Yeah.
You know that, but Earthquake didn't have the lovable side. He was.
He was
He was
vicious.
he was just a mean guy all the time, and
He
he
was a
had
bad
this,
mother.
he had bigger size, strength, and I think he had a more vicious side, and I believe he would have
He was a bad dude.
you know
He's been different
just like you
characters.
said. Miss
Yeah.
Elizabeth probably ended up would be the reason why George Animal Steel would lose because
Right.
she'd get up on the ring apron and
Distract him, and that's all
distract
she
him,
wrote.
and he'd be worried about her, and Earthquake's gonna crush him. So Earthquake takes it and moves on.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough, boys.
Earthquake advances.
Earthquake, fresh out the gate with the first victory in the blue bracket round. Coming up next, making his way to the ring next, we're gonna go with one. Who's better than Canyon?
Who
Taking
better?
on, the Junkyard Dog.
Go.
Canyon versus JYD, fellas.
You want me to take this one first?
Go ahead and go first.
I'm going with Chris Canyon. Okay, now when I say going by Chris Canyon, I am discrediting the Chris Canyon that was in WWE during the Invasion angle. I'm talking about the
Thank you.
WCW Chris Canyon.
Amen, brother.
Okay? Chris Canyon, he was a fantastic wrestler. Very
Innovator of
talented.
offense.
Yes, he was.
That's what they call him.
And really, who better?
Who better?
So, me personally, I dug his programs in WCW, his affiliation with Diamond Dallas Page. I mean, it was great. And
Yeah.
so I just feel like the innovator of offense, he was getting a push in WCW. So, you know what I mean? He was like on the rise in the mid card. So, who knows if WCW would have stayed around, maybe he would have get to the top. I don't know.
Correct. I agree. And me being a WCW guy, I watched a lot of Canyon. When he was a tag team, Wrath and Mortis.
Yes.
Yeah, with the guy Wrath who was in WWE. You might know him as Atom Bomb.
Okay. Wasn't he also in Chronic?
He was also in Chronic with Brian Adams.
With Brian Adams.
But Wrath
okay.
and Mortis, they wore the Mortal Kombat looking fucking attire and shit. Dude,
Like
the
Sub-Zero
masks
and shit.
Just massive. I mean, Canyon's mask was quite similar to like one of the versions of Kane's mask. Not the first one, but the one where the face part was cut out.
Yeah.
Only it was like green. But I mean, Wrath and Mortis, I thought were cool shit. I dug hell out of him. But Canyon, dude, he was so good, man. He was so good, and he just every week it seemed like he'd come up with some new move, dude, that you'd never seen before.
Yeah,
You know,
he's
and
talented.
he wasn't a little guy, so he was a good mix of great, offense. He was comfortable coming on. I mean, he could do shit off the top rope. You know, he was a big guy.
And I feel like WWE when he got there in 2001 didn't really give him an opportunity.
Absolutely not. Now, Junkyard Dog was entertaining. He was a tough guy.
Oh yeah.
Junkyard Dog went back. It wasn't. People. That's when he really, I guess, become the household name when it was with WWE. But he was around long before that.
Oh yeah, he was
NWA and
Smoky Mountain Wrestling.
Yeah, all that.
And I believe he wrestled for Stampede Wrestling for some time.
I believe so. But I mean, yeah, he was on with those promotions. I mean, he was around for a while.
He was in the territory days.
And he was, and he was good. He was entertaining. But for me, like you said, just.
If we're gonna go by skill,
just Canyon was one of those. He was just one of those guys, man. He was.
all right.
He was that rare, unique blend of size and speed and power, and he was good on the mic. He could cut the promo.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, hey, but I do gotta stop for 1 second. We obviously know who our picks are. For shits and giggles, who's your pick, Case One?
Well, unfortunately, unlike you guys, I still haven't gotten to the era where Chris Canyon came in.
That's right.
WCW.
Kyle's watching all the WCW stuff.
I haven't gotten
understand what I'm talking about when you see it.
Unfortunately, I don't know a whole lot about Chris Canyon. These guys obviously poured their heart out for the guy. So I'm gonna pour a little heart,
Show some love.
I'm gonna show some love to the
WWE.
WWE side. I'm gonna go with JYD just because I loved his gimmick. I love his enthusiasm in the ring and his little headbutts.
Yeah.
When he got down on all fours and started barking like a dog. I love JYD. I'm picking JYD, even though he already lost. I'm going with JYD.
Thank you, because I was gonna say, even though it does not matter, because clearly Chris Canyon does it.
I'm showing my love for my side.
But you know what though? I mean, you're not wrong. You know what I mean?
Well, and you know what's
I'm
interesting?
sure you guys aren't wrong either. I guess you gotta get there.
JYD was, he was. I mean, as we just established, he was a tough guy. He did the territories, but I just, like I said, for me, it's just Canyon. Like I said, he was one of those guys. Like I said, man, he really had it all. He had this power move. He could pull off power moves. He could pull off finesse. He could technical wrestle.
High fly.
He could high fly shit, dude. He would combine high flying and power moves together and do stuff. He was a phenomenal wrestler, man. That's why I said they called him the innovator of offense. And there was a reason for that. Because they do come up with shit, dude.
Now
that was just so badass looking. It just looked like it would be so devastating.
And I just want to go back to, like, we joke about, like, even if we know it's 2-on-1 for the vote so far to see what the but I would like to know if out of the three of us, if the wrestler would get a landslide victory.
Oh yeah, no.
Or if somebody's like,
everyone's opinion is valid.
So that's why we joke, but we do care about each other's opinion, because I'm curious to see what Kyle and what
wrestlers' thoughts matter.
WTM.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Canyon moves on to round two.
moves on to round two.
Who better?
Stepping up next, we're going to go with. Oh man, we're going to go with Hercules Hernandez taking on one Wahoo McDaniel, and I want to start off this one. I watched Wahoo McDaniel, when I was a kid. I remember seeing him. He was. It was towards the end of his time.
Was he a big deal?
But
like he was like territory top guy.
He was like like the Hulk Hogan of that era.
He was territory. He was a former NFL football player.
Big time.
So he was a big deal. Had a lot of matches. He won like 60-something% of his matches. He was. Yeah, he was the. My uncle. I had a funny little story. My uncle. he was police officer over Pasco County, and he used to work security at some of the different, wrestling shows that they would have in the different, gymnasiums and the sportatoriums and whatnot, back in the day. Well, he was doing a gig where he was, escort, and they were walking wrestlers out to the ring. Well, he was walking Wahoo out, and some guy, one of the guys, along the walkway there, yelled as he walked by, Wahoo McDaniel, Wahoo, you're a pussy. My uncle said, Wahoo stopped, turned and looked at the guy, walked over there, and just hocked one up and spit right in that dude's face. And my uncle said that dude just stood there and just stared as the spit slot glob was running down his cheek.
Probably didn't want to make any
and just stood there, and Wahoo just stared at him for a few seconds, and then said, "Who's the pussy now?" And then turned and went on to the ring and had his match.
Guy shouldn't have said
Dude,
that.
that's
Don't mess with wrestlers, man. I tell you what.
yeah, that was the kind of guy Wahoo was. That was the way the rest were, and he just,
If you did that in
he
today's
wore the
society,
headdress out there. Yeah, man, he was. And now Hercules Hernandez, his run, his popularity was short-lived. It was short-lived. WWE, he never
it was in
really.
the 80s, correct?
Yeah. He never did a whole lot. He would have the chains around his neck when he would come out.
Yeah, he was a big dude.
Yeah, he was just a big, muscular, looking type dude back, like, Vince liked to have those kind of guys in the 80s.
Vince was
The Ken Pateras and the Ivan Putskis
and
and
the Hulk Hogan.
no, I'm even talking those
Scott Steiner.
those massive jacked, type, hulking type, guys.
So, definitely when
and
it
that
comes...
was Gino's thing. That was his looks. I mean, he was just that big, powerful guy. But if he was to put
by experience,
you put Gino Hernandez in the ring, even in his prime, with Wahoo in his prime, and Wahoo's could legitimately,
destroy him?
Yeah, it was.
Not a squash, but it would be...
It would have been like when Regal and Goldberg wrestled. Goldberg was that big power guy, but Regal could really do shit, you know what I mean?
Yep.
I mean, and they'll talk
Purposely
about that match,
did that to
with
Goldberg.
him and Goldberg. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of a little famous little thing with the two of them, and Regal kind of did. And that's what would have happened. Easily, no question about it. Wahoo McDaniel.
For the win?
Gets the win. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Kyle?
Well, I will agree. Hercules was, like you said, he said it all. The chains and all that.
He was more of like a gimmick character.
He had a really good
Yeah.
gimmick. I really
Vince
liked
liked this
I
gimmick.
bought into it. But,
he served his
Wahoo
purpose.
Wahoo McDaniel is like, like The Rock or like Hulk Hogan or Stone Cold Steve Austin.
In
or
his
John
era.
Cena.
The top dog.
And this guy, Wahoo, you think about who Wahoo was
Very
in there going
very
against.
successful.
He was the Funks and the Briscoes and
Yeah, he was up there.
the
with
Von
that.
Erichs and
Hercules was a mid-card guy and Wahoo was like
he was
main
a
event
man.
card all the time.
I think you guys just explained it 10 times.
So Wahoo beats. Well, what about your choice?
What do you
My
think?
choice, honestly,
Yeah, I mean,
and it's not just because he's a mid-card guy that I'm going to say Wahoo McDaniel. I'm not saying that. Wahoo McDaniel, yes, because of his career and because of his status, and I'm pretty sure he had way more success than Hercules Hernandez did in his time frame. I'm going to go by popularity alone. I'm going to go with Wahoo McDaniel.
Yeah.
That's how I'm voting.
So there's a clean sweep for Wahoo.
That is a clean
Moving
sweep.
on. Next match. Listen, none of us should really have to spend a lot of time on this decision. No offense to you, Gorgeous George. But Gorgeous George versus Umaga.
Ooh, my God.
Or as William Regal like to say, Umanga.
Yeah.
Eddie Fatu.
Oh,
That's his real name.
I'll tell you what. Any
Yeah.
gimmick, especially Umaga. The Umaga gimmick was
It was good.
absolutely money. I'm just so sorry that he wasn't around long enough to keep going with it, because he would have been money.
Yeah.
Like I said.
He had matches
The
with John
Sam
Cena,
Owen
Triple H.
Bulldozer.
But
Some of the biggest
this
stars
is how this would have went.
on the current
The,
roster.
the bell would have rang. Gorgeous George would have come,
He would have strutted his
strutted and
flamboyant stuff.
prancing himself, prancing out to the ring in front of Umaga. Umaga's just going to stand there and stare at him. You know, and
Hit him
you
with
know,
the thumbs.
Gorgeous George
Spike.
is going to do his shtick. All 5'8", 276 pounds of him.
God
And
bless
Umaga's
him.
going to stare at him for, about
2.5
30
seconds.
seconds.
No disrespect.
Tops.
No.
And then he's going to Samoan spike him, and it's going to be
And it's
over.
no-
No disrespect to Gorgeous George and his career, but you just got draw. You got drawn a bad hand.
You got dealt
You got a bad hand.
You got dealt a
So,
bad
okay,
hand.
so Bill, you go with Umaga.
Too bad you couldn't have got Crash Holly.
Right.
I'm going to go next. You
So,
got Umaga.
Umaga, clearly.
I'm going to go next this time.
All right. You
Okay.
Go ahead.
Why don't you guys say it in unison? Come on now.
No.
1, 2, 3.
Obviously, Umaga. But here's the thing. I don't think it's going to go quick. I'd give it at least maybe 30 seconds. Because after he hits him with...
That's quick.
That's exactly what I said. 30 seconds.
Oh, I thought you said like a few seconds.
No, I said he's going to look at him. He's going to
All
stare
right,
at him
let's
for
give it about a
30
minute.
seconds.
Umaga's
And
not
then
the
he's going
type.
to spike him.
Umaga's not the type one move. Umaga's wants to hurt. And I have a feeling he's going to throw him into the corner, run into him when he's sitting in the corner, go to one end of the ring, come in, hit his ass on the guy's face. Remember? He used to do that shit all the time, like Rikishi. That was a big ass. That had to hurt. And then,
Either that or he'll headbutt him to start off.
yeah, and then
throw-
maybe
and then
go on
spike.
the ropes and splash, and then fucking sisa,
So,
and then pin him.
so
Pin him!
Umaga won. Okay. Unanimous decision.
You agree?
Yeah.
Umaga?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
All right. So, jumping over to the other side over here,
Well, come on.
we're going to
walk
come
over
at
here.
this with a one Jimmy Superfly Snuka
Superfly.
taking on Chad Gaspar.
Well,
Who wants to go first? Kyle.
well,
Cat?
me and old Giuseppe had a bad, I guess, experience with Superfly, but I'm not going to add that to his accolades.
I am.
And his ability in the ring. But you gotta look at the two superstars. You got Chad Gaspar, he's a big boy. Jimmy Superfly Snuka was more of a gimmick than a in-ring competitor. Maybe way back in the day, he was more of a competitor. Chad Gaspar is a tag team wrestler. Jimmy Snuka is a
Singles
competitor. But I think Chad Gaspar will have the upper hand in the end against Jimmy Superfly Snuka.
Well,
You want to go next?
Superfly was a tough dude, man. The dude wrestled barefoot. He would splash dive someone off the top of a building if they would have let him. And his head obviously is hard enough to bust open a coconut
Yes.
Thanks to Roddy Piper.
in Piper's Pit. Exactly.
Piper
And
proved that theory. He did.
Joey, I know you and I watched. I believe you watched it with
Dark
me.
Side of the Ring.
The Dark Side of the Ring about Jimmy Snuka.
And
And Jimmy Snuka was, what's aside from the dark side stuff they talked about, they did talk a lot about his wrestling career, man. And he did a lot of stuff, and
he was involved in a lot of stuff.
side little
Bar.
little fun fact here. This will consider this a shout out to our 3-2-1 Screw Royal Rumble edition of the
Dirty Dozen.
Jimmy Superfly Snuka never participated in a Royal Rumble match.
You sure?
Positive. Watched the thing where they were talking about 10 wrestlers that never participated in a Royal Rumble match.
Huh.
Jimmy Superfly Snuka was one of them. Ricky Dragon Steamboat was also one.
Wow, I can see that. You got to think too. Ricky the Dragon, most
Scott Hall also. Or Razor Ramon.
Razor Ramon, I did hear that. So
Anyways.
Let's get into
Superfly Snuka
match.
and Chad Gaspar. You know, but Superfly Snuka, yeah, he's a big guy. You know, he was that high flyer. Chad Gaspar was a big guy who I think had the strength and would have the agility to, if not necessarily ground Superfly's, high flying game, but he could contend with it. It wouldn't be as much of a factor. Superfly would have to beat him, I think. In on the mat in the ring, and I think Shad takes him myself.
And I'm gonna go third on Shad. I'm not gonna hold our negative experience, but Shad Gaspar, dude, if you look at wrestling in his era versus Superfly Snuka, I'm gonna go with how much more technical Shad's era was versus Superfly Snuka's, and I'm gonna give it to the younger guy, Shad Gaspard, the big dude. I met Shad Gaspard one time, and he was at a FCW show, and this was right after they tried pushing him as a heel when he turned on JTG, and all of a sudden he disappears from the camera. So he was doing house shows with FCW, and he signed a $5 bill for me. That was pretty cool. Money. So, but
Shad Gaspard, congrats, sir.
Shad
You are moving
Gaspard.
on in the blue bracket.
Yeah, man.
So, staying down on this side here. Let's go with one Gino Hernandez, as we also watched his dark side of the ring.
Yep.
Gino Hernandez versus Brian Adams, or Crush.
Could I go first on this one?
Yeah, and what else was he was also in Chronic, as we talked about.
Yeah, but as Brian Adams.
It was one of the things
Crush.
too, Crush.
Wasn't he?
Did you mention Adam Bomb?
No, that wasn't Brian Adams.
He's been something else. We know that. We'll get back to you on that. But
yeah.
All right, so I'm gonna go first. Gino Hernandez versus Brian Adams. Okay, I'm gonna get Brian Adams out of the way real quick. Brian Adams, very talented. He was able to adapt. He's been all over the world wrestling. He was part of tag teams. He was part of stables. He was part of the Nation of Domination. A lot of people don't realize he was one of the original members of the Nation of Domination.
He's also part of NWO Black and White.
There you go. So, my thing is, with him, very talented. He was just one of those big guys that could fill that part wherever they needed him. He was kind of like how Kane would just fill in and hit those rivalries or whatever, but you could see a good match for a big guy. That's Brian Adams. Now, on the other side of that, that's all fine and dandy, but Gino Hernandez was the future. Gino Hernandez was moving up fast. He was the young pretty boy who had the flashing money that everybody... He was like a Spanish Ric Flair.
I was going to say a Latin Shawn Michaels, more like it for me.
Fact. So, but Gino Hernandez, and it's a shame because he did get mixed up with some bad people. We have a little friend here.
Yep.
Woofa.
Man,
Here, why don't you use
nothing.
some napkins, double layer that mother. He's pretty
There
big.
you go.
He's a big one.
We got to handle some business. And
You monster!
That was a monster, wasn't it?
That was, man. It was huge. The fuck are you feeding them? So,
This place wasn't allowed to have pets.
I just want to say Gino Hernandez though was the future. He had the look, he had the in-ring ability, he had the mic skills. He would cut some of the great heel promos.
It's cold driving him inside. Yeah.
I'm just saying, I honestly think that when it comes to Gino Hernandez versus Bryan Adams, Gino Hernandez's skill, his dynamic.
You didn't pick yet, did you?
No.
His dynamic.
Well, go ahead.
Okay. His dynamic in the ring and just all around personality. I could see him beating Bryan Adams. Maybe in a cheating way, but Gino Hernandez to me advances.
Both Gino Hernandez and Adams both have successful careers. But when you look at the statistics, I think Adams has a better win record than Gino.
Oh yeah, well he also had a longer career.
And that's what I'm basing my decision off of. I think Adams beats Gino Hernandez just by his experience as both
I can see
singles
that.
competitor, tag team competitor, and overall win-loss record.
You know,
That's kind of a tough one.
you could not have said it better than that. And I have to say, in light of what you just said, I'm going to have to go with Gino Hernandez.
That's not fucking funny.
You see what he did? Wait, Bill. This is a perfect time for you just did a
He's a twist.
twist.
A twist.
So, I mean, you're absolutely
Did I hit the nail on the
You
head?
make sense. I mean, you make sense. But I'm of the same mindset as Joey. I think Gino was
on his way, dude.
he was on a rocket ship, man. He
They
was
don't
on a
all
rocket
have to be
ship to the top.
landslides.
He was on a rocket ship to the top, man.
That's my favorite thing about this.
He would have been in the WWE, WWF at that time.
Well, he did, I think, for a little bit, didn't he?
I don't think he.
No, he would, because it was territories at the time.
Yeah.
He was like right before I think Vince was buying all that stuff up.
But he would have been in WWF, and I think
I know
it
his
would have been a big
personality.
deal.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But I definitely agree. He beats Bryan Adams.
Yeah.
So, Gino Hernandez is moving on.
Beat Crush.
Yep, that he did.
It's turning out interesting, man. Who do we got so far?
All right.
We got one
So,
more match, I
the
think,
next
right?
match we got over
Oh,
here,
two more matches.
this is going to be a tough one to call. This is going to be, in fact, I'm going to save that one. I'm going to go over
Yeah,
here
save that
to
one.
this
for-
one. Andrew Test Martin taking on Kerry Von Erich, also known to some of you WWF as the Texas Tornado.
This is a
I
test.
want to go first on this one. I liked Test. I enjoyed Test. I thought he was a good wrestler. He was a cool character. He worked. He was a good.
He was bodyguard for
I
Motley Crue.
would. You know what? I would even give him as much as say
He was.
upper mid Carter. Upper mid Carter.
Dude,
I would
he-
even give him
Go ahead, I'm
a
sorry.
consistent upper mid Carter.
Yep.
We're talking about a Von Erich.
A Bon
We're
Eric.
talking about a Von Erich. That just
The legacy.
it's not wrong. It's like it's like saying we're talking about a Hart. Someone from that Hart family.
Okay, I'll give you that.
It's,
I'll give you
it's
that.
the same. The Von Erichs. They're just. I mean, those are two of the most prominent and biggest, I think, wrestling families. They just.
Did the Hearts ever rival with the Von Erichs at some point?
I don't know. I don't think so.
Yeah, because maybe
I
they,
don't know.
they were a little bit before the
Yeah,
Hart
they were
Foundation.
they were Canadian. They were
The
up in Canada.
Hearts were up here, and the Von Erichs were down here.
Like, as far as
Yeah, Von Erichs
territories,
were going to
yeah.
be like Georgia, Texas,
Texas,
Florida.
Canada, Texas. You know.
Yeah, they're
Pretty much wherever they say y'all.
Canada, maybe some Minnesota.
Minnesota. So,
But
and,
yeah, I mean Kerry Von Erich.
okay.
No,
Do you want me to
just-
go next or you go
I
next?
mean, no question about it.
I would just
Because
say,
Kerry Von Erich was, again, he was another one of those guys who was just that. Not only was he a Von Erich and he had that, that he could straight up wrestle, but he was a big boy, dude. He of all the Von Erichs, he was that one that big, jacked up, muscle bound, the kind of guy that Vince McMahon just like,
Went after.
yep, that's my dude, and that's why he was in the WWF.
All right.
He was part of Ultimate Warrior's Survivor Series team one year. It was Ultimate Warrior, Kerry Von Erich, and the Road Warriors.
Right on. All right, Kyle. You want me to go next?
You go ahead, because I'm pretty much, go ahead.
Okay, so if I had to pick, I'm going to go with my era. I'm going to go with more intense. Here's the thing. Andrew Martin test. The problem was, why are you laughing?
Go ahead.
The problem was, every time he would get a push in the Attitude Era or whatever, he'd either get injured or he'd mess up. Why's your mouth dropped? God. You should close it. Flies are
Go ahead, finish what you're saying.
So
this is why I wanted you to go first.
here's the thing. So if Andrew Martin would have kept his nose clean and
What? Oh, sorry.
No.
Finish the sentence.
Andrew Martin could have had a potential to be a top star.
He could have.
He could
Very
have,
well
but he
could have.
never was.
Very well could have.
So we're gonna go ahead with.
So you're saying Test beats Kerry Von Erich?
Yes.
So we're gonna say that he's wrong because Test. I don't even have to say anything because Bill said it all.
This is
Test is a mid-card wrestler. He didn't get to the top, and because he screwed up all those times, it was his fault why he wasn't a top superstar. So Kerry Von Erich.
And yeah, he's not beating
Beats
Von
Test.
Erich. He's not it's not gonna happen.
No disrespect to
Prime
Test.
versus Prime and Prime, because even when Kerry Von Erich was Texas Tornado, that wasn't his prime.
No.
His prime,
No.
there's no way Test beats Kerry
Test,
Von Erich.
no disrespect to Test. He had an
I like
awesome
Test.
career,
I liked him.
awesome storylines. He ain't beating no Von Erich. I'm sorry.
I just gave my opinion.
Yeah,
You
no.
did good.
But no, both of you should.
It mattered. It mattered.
Did it really?
Not really.
All right, now.
Woo!
Here we
Woo!
go. Okay. Hey.
Woo!
Woo! Whoa! We got another match going here.
Oh, this is the hard one.
Woo!
I said, whoa.
Oh, he said what? Whoa! Joey Lawrence.
We got
Keep looking back and thinking
Harley
now,
Race.
why me?
versus Eddie Guerrero.
Now.
That's hard.
Now. I'll go first.
Go ahead. I gotta go second.
I'll go first
Go ahead,
because
you go first.
Eddie Guerrero is beloved, one of the best technical submission
High-flying.
Latino high flying
Lucha Libre.
of all
GG Steelers.
time. And then you got Harley Race. Harley Race is from the era of Ric Flair, Dusty Rhodes, Ground and Pound, Bleed, and No Mercy.
Brutal Southern style.
I am going to have to go with the generation that the gentleman came from. And I have to say that Harley Race comes with the victory by very slim margins.
I beg to differ.
I know you would, but go ahead.
Let's go.
What's your reason? There?
Eddie Guerrero, hands down.
Why?
Okay. Eddie Guerrero was always the underdog.
Absolutely.
Okay. Eddie Guerrero always could out-wrestle anybody on that mat any given day of the week.
Absolutely.
3 times on Sunday. Okay. Eddie Guerrero, yes, Harley Race for his NWA accomplishments. He is a former NWA World Champion a few times. But I'm going to go with both of them were in the WWE.
Right, but
Hold on. Harley Race, even though he was who he was in the NWA and stuff, when they got to that grand stage scale, Harley Race kind of fell short in the mix in WWE. Eddie Guerrero, what are you shaking your head?
I didn't even shake it. Continue.
What are you saying? Eddie Guerrero excelled to the top. by hard work and just he became one of the top stars. What were you laughing at?
Keep going.
Keep going, for God's sake.
He became a top star. He beat Brock Lesnar for the WWE Championship. I don't see Harley Race doing that. And the way he's going to beat Harley Race is he's going to lie, cheat, and steal.
Okay.
So Eddie Guerrero, Harley Race.
Absolutely.
Eddie Guerrero was one of the greats. He did lie, cheat, steal. He was the underdog. He did prove everyone wrong and get to the upper echelons, you know, the top of the mountain.
He's one of the greatest.
Absolutely, he was. But Harley Race. Harley Race is one of the guys who you have to consider when you are trying to decide who's going to be on the Mount Rushmore of pro wrestling.
Yeah.
Eddie Guerrero, as great as he was, is not one of the guys in that conversation.
You don't think
Race,
so?
absolutely not.
No.
No?
Absolutely not.
No way.
You
The
say
Rock
There are
is not.
so many
The Rock
people.
doesn't even is not even involved in
There's
that
so
conversation.
many
Whoa. Whoa.
There's only 4 bases, and Eddie Guerrero doesn't
Yes.
come close.
Yeah, there's 4 faces in pro wrestling. Yeah, you know, Eddie Guerrero's that. Harley Race, and you talked about, but both WWE. Yes, but when Harley Race was in the WWF,
It was at the end.
this was the back half of his career.
Yeah, that's
this was
true.
not in his
He wasn't
prime.
in his prime.
Harley
Stargate.
Race, Harley Race is one of the most
Decaf.
No,
guys.
No, I don't have to.
Listen now.
Relax.
Harley Race is one of the most notoriously
Roofa.
known real life legit badass dudes. You ask all these wrestlers who to name some of the toughest, the baddest, guys in wrestling. And 2 names you're gonna hear a lot is Harley Race. No. Is Harley Race
And Dusty Rhodes.
and Haku.
Oh, yeah. I heard he's a bad motherfucker.
Okay, those 2 dudes, you hear their names thrown around a lot as a legit badass dude. Also Rick Rude. But Harley Race was just... I mean, if you listen, Ric Flair, listen to how he talks about Harley Race,
I'll get back to you. then.
and just how great of a wrestler that Harley Race is. Harley Race, yeah, he is one of the best.
I get it.
And
Absolutely.
Eddie Guerrero will give it a go. He'll give it a fight.
He'll try to
And
lie, cheat, and steal.
he'll go out like a boss, but he will go out
Okay.
because Harley Race is just,
He's Harley Race.
Yes.
Harley Race.
All right, so Harley Race advances.
All right, baby. We're on to the second round.
I think Harley Race gave himself his first tattoo before he was born. I mean, that's how bad that son of a bitch was.
Seriously, babe.
Guys, I was gunshot now. He's looking behind him, coming for him. All right, so here we
His
are.
family's coming
Next
for him.
go round. Let's go jump right over here, and we're gonna go with one Shad Gaspard versus Gary Von Erich.
Oh, you're first?
You go
Okay,
first.
he goes first. Shad Gaspar, Gary Von Erich. I bet you he goes against Von Erich because he doesn't know anything
I do know stuff
No.
about Von
about Go
It
ahead.
was just supposed to be balls.
Erich. No.
Go ahead. Who did you pick?
I like both of them. They both were tag team wrestlers. They both tried singles wrestling. Von Erich was more successful in the singles competition.
Yeah, he was almost predominantly a singles guy.
And, well, yeah, but when he was WCCW, he was
Yeah,
I mean,
There was a tag team
They
in the
did team
team.
with
He
his
wasn't part
brothers,
of the
but he
tag
was
team.
They
still-
were, but they also were like
Yeah,
their own
they
person.
were like single guys, but they were brothers. They could tag with each other.
Well, what type of match
Yeah,
is this? A one-on-one match, right?
One on
I'm
one.
gonna give it to Kerry Von Erich for that reason only. Thank you.
Okay.
Before you make a decision, I was going to ask you a question.
What?
Just
What?
because
For that
you
reason
chose,
only.
okay, you chose Kerry Von Erich to beat Chad Gaspard.
Yeah.
But you think Test would have beat Kerry Von Erich. So you're saying in a match between Chad Gaspard
No.
and Test, you think Test would have beat Chad
Think about
Gaspard?
it. He had to go through Test.
Oh,
Okay.
Do you
Okay.
realize
Okay.
how tough Test
All right, I'll
was?
give. All right, listen. I'll give you your logic. There you go.
Dude.
You got Kerry Von Erich. Cop. Cop.
I can't with you, Cartman.
Well,
Let's go.
Chad Gaspard, once again, excellent tag team wrestler. He got through a tough Jimmy Snuka,
Money.
but
Yeah.
he's not getting through a tough ass Kerry Von Erich. Kerry Von Erich beats Chad Gaspard.
Is it a landslide?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a landslide for Von
It's gonna be a
Erich.
tough one. It's gonna be a good match. It's gonna be a hard fought match. But yeah, in the end, Kerry's technical prowess is gonna be the difference.
The difference maker.
Yeah. So. All right. Next, we're gonna go with one Earthquake versus Harley Race.
That's a handslide. That's a well. I don't know. I know my pick.
I'm gonna pick Harley Race just based off of the 5 minutes you guys explained to me who in the hell he is.
Yeah.
So I feel like I'm kind of a dick if I don't pick Harley Race at this point.
Well,
No, but honestly, from what you guys are telling me in an Earthquake, Harley Race sounds like he had the better.
is that a dog?
I'm not sure what that was.
I think that was an
I think it was a
Earthquake.
car backfire on US one.
So I'm gonna go with Harley Race, hands down.
I will, Earthquake, he was an excellent gimmick. He had an excellent run, tag team, single competitor, but he doesn't hold a candle to Harley Race. Harley Race
Couldn't
wins
lace his
hands
boots.
down.
Yeah, again, unanimous. I agree. And yes, Earthquake was able to beat George Animal Steel by using his strength and size. But George Animal Steel was not the wrestler, the caliber of wrestler that
That
Harley
Harley
Race was.
Race was.
Harley Race is kind of like Chris Benoit.
As I just
The
learned.
longer he goes, the stronger and tougher he gets.
No, 100%, dude.
100%.
All right, so Harley
100
Race
on that.
moving on.
To the finals. Or
We
the
got-
semifinals.
Now this is actually a very interesting matchup. But at Canyon versus Gino Hernandez.
I'll let you guys vote on this since you know
All right,
Canyon so well.
I want to take the first stab at this, and
It's probably best he does.
as we talked about earlier, Gino Hernandez, his career was it was strapped to the side of a rocket and it was shooting straight into space.
Yep.
I mean, he was on the rise at a rapid pace, and would have been
Probably a top guy.
he would have been a superstar.
I think so.
Canyon, same thing. Canyon.
If WCW stayed the way it was, he would have been.
Yeah, if WCW would have stayed as WCW, Canyon would at some point, Canyon would have been.
He would have got
WCW.
moved
He
up.
would have been the world champion.
He would have got
I
moved
think
up.
they would have pushed him to a world champion. Canyon, I think Canyon was the more skilled wrestler than Gino was. Gino was flashier, probably a little, we probably could cut a promo better than what Canyon would, but Canyon outshined him, when it comes to the ring. Canyon was, again, it comes down to Canyon was bigger than he was, but he could still pull off, he could still hang with those guys, and I think again, it would come down to Canyon's size, strength, speed, agility, his innovative offense, moves that he can do. My vote is Canyon would beat Gino Hernandez.
Well, I honestly, that's a tough one. Honestly,
Would be a hell of a match though.
it would be a hell of a match, and it would come very close, but I do think Gino Hernandez will take it in the end.
Wow.
I can see, I'm going to go with,
Well, I'm going to go with what these gentlemen, use the term loosely though,
very loosely,
they have said about Canyon. Once again, with Gino Hernandez, I have to go with the win-loss record. Canyon had a better win-loss record than Gino Hernandez.
Mhm.
So my deciding decision, the winning decision, I'm going with Chris Canyon to beat Gino Hernandez, just by the win-loss record alone.
Fuck you too, Day Day.
Who's better than Canyon?
Who better?
Not Gino Hernandez.
Nah, apparently not.
Well,
Oh, and now here we
this
go.
is tough.
Woo! Where we
Yeah.
at?
We got,
Umaga and
Umaga versus Wahoo
Wahoo
McDaniel.
McDaniel. Man, I don't know if I want to go first. I'm afraid.
I'll go first, damn it. I'll go by the popularity. And I'm pretty damn sure Wahoo McDaniel had more wins than Umaga.
Oh yeah.
I'm going to go with that
62%.
alone, the experienced Wahoo McDaniel.
Well, I think I'm going. It's very, very tough
Close.
decision.
It's a close match.
Unfortunately, with Umaga, he didn't have much of a run because of his illnesses and his not able to be there. So I am going to go once again with the win-loss record.
Mm-hmm.
Wahoo McDaniel pulls it out with Umaga being the second and only.
This is a landslide,
beat
isn't it?
Umaga other than John
It's a
Cena.
landslide.
Yeah, I agree. Umaga.
And Umaga had some great rivalries.
Umaga.
Bobby
you know,
Lashley,
big
Triple H.
powerhouse guy.
John
I
Cena.
think
John Cena.
it could have been a great match, but if I've got to pick a winner, I got to go with the person who I think
With the experience.
was also the person that I think was the more skilled wrestler.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough.
Umaga was more of that, bruiser,
Yeah,
brawler,
yeah. He was a bad
power,
motherfucker.
just go in there and just destroy people as quickly as possible.
Yeah.
Wahoo, could,
Wahoo would have outsmarted him.
he would outlasted him. He just,
He would
would
let
out wrestle him.
he would let Umaga tire himself out
Yeah.
and then just take the advantage when it's time. Excuse me.
Wahoo.
Are we down to the
moving
two?
on.
No, we're at the semifinals here.
Okay, here we go. Then we're down to the final four.
Oh,
of the
boy.
bracket. And we're going to start off with a matchup pitting one Kerry Von Erich versus one Canyon. And I'm telling you right now, that is a match I would have loved to have seen.
Shit.
Man.
Well, I'll just go ahead and I'm going to vote Von Erich again. They're just too damn tough over Chris Canyon. I'll put it on the table right now.
Wait,
There's my hand.
I'm going to go by this. Name off again who Von Erich faced to get where he's at.
Kerry Von Erich beat Test, and he beat Shad Gaspard.
Okay. Go ahead and do for...
Canyon beat Junkyard Dog and Gino Hernandez.
I'm going to go with Canyon. Reason being is because I feel like Von Erich would have had more of a powerhouse fighting. That, winded. He's winded. I'm going to go with the brackets here. I'm going to use, because when you get to that point in the tournament, you got to think you're worn out.
Yeah.
This isn't like, okay, the next night we're going to wrestle. This is all in one shot, all in one night.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go with that factor. I'm gonna go ahead and give it to Chris Canyon.
Yeah.
Who better?
The deciding factor.
This is another one of those.
You're gonna need a minute.
Really, I could take an hour and still not actually,
Let's not.
not, but you know what I'm saying.
I know what you
I
mean.
could go back and
I'm
forth
just
for an
busting
hour
your chops.
on pros and cons of who.
Ultimately, one match to a finish. Kerry Von Erich, Chris Canyon. Go.
Chris Canyon cheats, wins.
Go.
He
The
wasn't
thing is,
you.
both of these guys, both of them, they match up physically well.
Body type
Um,
similar.
Yeah. Gary Von Erich was the more, ripped, muscular, where, Canyon was just a big, just a big guy.
Agreed.
But wrestling skill wise, we're talking about Von Erich, but man, Canyon was so good.
He was talented,
And
man. He
they're both fast. They both were troubled. You know what I mean? They both had that
psychological
that
issues.
that dark side to them.
They
Deep sea issues.
the bad side of the business.
Here's where I think Kerry Von Erich. Yes, Kerry Von Erich was a very sound wrestler. Taught, part of that Von Erich family taught the fundamentals were, second to none.
Yeah.
Canyon though. Canyon was a little more new schoolish because when I said that the innovator of offense, that guy would just.
Reverse
Kerry
shit.
Von Erich was great at wrestling, grappling, wrestling. You know what I'm saying? But they were just old school stuff. He wasn't out there inventing new moves,
Every
new
week.
things. You know what I'm saying? He was
did.
doing the old school stuff and doing it well. But that where Canyon was out there just week in week out, like you said, every time you watch him, it's like I've never seen him do that before. Like holy shit, where did that come from?
Right.
And I think ultimately, that. To me, that gives Canyon the edge over Kerry Von Erich. And I think Kerry Von Erich had the tougher road getting to where he's at.
Right with
Canyon,
the brackets, right?
Canyon, I think, Canyon, Junkyard Dog's tough and all, but I think Canyon, is in better shape going through JYD and Gino than Kerry is going through
Shad Gaspar.
Shad and Test.
So
So I'm going with Canyon.
we figured the
Wow.
way that conversation was going.
I didn't think it was that favored, but
Well, no, dude, I'm teasing. Like, come on. Why did you make me have to say it? I was gonna say you say that every time.
Said it every time.
No, dude. Honestly, good though. I gotta agree
Canyon
with you.
advances to the finals.
Yeah.
Who did you pick? You picked
He went
Canyon?
Kerry
No,
Von
I
Erich.
picked Von Erich.
Oh, that's right. Nobody gives a crap.
I just put it out there. Done.
Now, here we go. Again,
I'll go last.
here's another.
I'll go last.
Here is another tough one, man.
Read it
Harley
off.
Race-
I'll go
Harley
last.
Race versus Wahoo McDaniel.
Who wants to go first? I'm going last. I already said it. I said it first.
I'm gonna base it off of this. With the statistics you guys looked up, who held the more world championships?
I don't remember.
I don't
I'm gonna
remember.
be honest with you.
Okay. Who did Harley Race go through?
Harley
Remind
Race.
me-
Guerrero,
He beat Eddie
Earthquake.
Guerrero to start, and then Earthquake. And Hercules Hernandez, was Wahoo McDaniel beat Hercules Hernandez, and then Umaga.
I'm gonna go with the brackets on that. Wahoo McDaniel went through powerhouses. What?
I didn't say anything.
Wahoo McDaniel went through powerhouses. That had to wear him out. By the time he gets to that main event with Harley Race had, I think, the easier route compared to McDaniel. I'm not saying it was easy for him to get where he's at. He just had probably a better time. Harley
Okay.
Race.
So you say Harley Race.
Yeah.
Tom?
I'm going last.
Oh, you want to go last?
Yeah, Bill. Hurry it up. I honestly, you got to go by the brackets at some point.
Yeah, I mean, I am looking at the brackets.
You know, because that you got to think that all falls into play, man.
And
It's the whole point of the tournament. To see you're the best.
I'm looking at the bracket and I'm thinking that Wahoo McDaniel had an easier time beating Hercules Hernandez than Harley Race did beating Eddie Guerrero.
True.
You think so?
And I'm looking at this thinking that Wahoo McDaniel, he had a tough fight, he would have a tough fight against Umaga, but I think, as we said, Umaga, I think Wahoo could have
One.
had the stamina, could have just wore Umaga out and beat him.
Blasted.
Harley Race, again, after coming off Eddie Guerrero, he had to take on Earthquake.
Yeah,
You know, it's a big boy, man. Just, I'm thinking at this point in the bracket,
Just make a pick, brother.
I'm leaning towards Wahoo McDaniel.
Yeah.
The deciding choice. Harley Race.
Harley Race takes it.
And he's tied with Chris Canyon now, where he's in the
He's
finals.
in the final, taking on one Chris Canyon.
Now, since I went last time, I will take pleasure in the finals. I'll go first.
Okay.
Looking at the brackets, looking at the superstars, looking at the stamina. Win-loss records, legacies. I just comes down to the last 3 seconds of the match.
The nitty gritty.
Harley Race has it over Canyon.
I'm gonna second that.
Harley Race.
Harley Race.
I just want to know what your decision was.
And
I
I
think
strictly.
it's going to be. I think it would be a tougher match that people may initially want to give it credit for being.
Oh no, don't. I'm not
But
discrediting
in
it.
the end,
I didn't say it wasn't a tough
but
match.
in the end, I think Harley Race does also.
It's a landslide.
Landslide.
I mean, dude, you got to think, dude. I mean, you put. I gotta go with experience. Gotta go with the brackets. You gotta go with the stats. I mean, Chris Canyon would have been a world champion, I think.
So that's it. It's official. We have our 4 bracket winners. So that means the next show. They are, and we don't know. We'll randomly. We'll do it during the show. We'll just choose it randomly right then.
We'll put
The
the
matchups.
we'll put the 4 names into the,
It's going to be Harley Race,
and we'll mix them up, match them up.
Macho Man Randy Savage,
Oh yeah.
Bruiser Brody, and Mike Von Erich.
So
That's a
Von
good
Erich
final.
made it to the final 4.
He did.
We'll have those.
That was
Do
tough.
a 2 and 2, and then the winners will meet in the final to declare the first ever Headlocks and Halos champion.
Thank you again for tuning in. Don't forget to subscribe. And I guess any more gripes, comments, concerns,
Give a thumbs up.
Yep.
Ring that bell.
Ring that bell icon so you don't miss out
and do
when we
that.
upload new content.
Right.
Big Shot Joe.
Case Wine.
Captain Bill.
And we'll see you right here next time on the
3.
2
1
Screw.
What he said.
Headlocks and Halos.